Nick Gibbs and I were just talking about whether or not Tesla has bottomed and also whether the market has bottomed. I assume you meant both.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, why not? Which one do you want to do first?
Hmm, let's do. Oh man, Tesla is up in the aftermarket.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's do macro and let's zoom down into Tesla. Let's do this the right way.
Okay. All right. I'll let you go first. I have all kinds of opinions about the macro, but I'd love to hear your ideas.
Oh man, I don't even know if I have a clear thought. Um, so I don't know if the market is done. I mean, today was a very interesting day, right? Because you had, let's see, we had Tesla, Palantir, Meta, Coin, Apple Oven, Nvidia, TSM, right? Lots of these companies were green today,
Mhm.
but the market was red today.
Right.
Uh, SPY was down a decent amount, what, almost 1%. NASDAQ was down just under 1%, or barely 1%, or barely 0.2%. And then I believe the Dow was the biggest loser today. So the market, I think, is kind of finding itself right now. I think there's a juxtaposition where I think high flying companies like growth companies, Mag 7, companies like that will lead the rally first, but they'll also lead the declines first.
Mhm.
And so I think the market is maybe a week, maybe a couple days behind where they are. And so it really depends on where, whether or not we have bottom on the whole. So I think the market, no matter what is happening right now, our signal will be Tesla, Nvidia, Meta, Amazon. Those companies will be our signal if we bottom or not, and then the market will lag. So that's kind of what I think. It's not a real definitive answer, um, but I'll hold off to tell you what I think about Tesla
All right. So
to hear your thoughts.
we have the S&P at 10%, almost, depending on
Almost.
who's asking. I thought I mean it touched under 10% yesterday, but didn't close under 10. And today it didn't quite make it to 10 under 10 to 10 either. And similarly, the Dow, which had been a laggard in terms of being down. Okay, how would you be? It had not come down as much. It was down around 7%, and then I think another point and a half today. So it's now getting close to the 10%. So my question of you would be, do you think that we need a correct, at this point, being so close to a correction, do you think there's a psychological something going on that would require a full 10%?
No, I whether it's 10, 9, 11, I think it's kind of arbitrary.
Okay.
I think honestly, I think all of this is arbitrary. I think that in 2 months from now, we'll kind of be maybe not at all time highs, but I think everything will be kind of back to normal. And it'll
And,
be like, oh, what happened?
and what'll drive that?
Clarity. I think in 2 months from now, you will have Mexico, Canada sorted out. You'll have a lot of other countries reducing their tariffs on the U.S. Because it'll go one of two ways with reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd. Either we just put them on and that's it, eye for an eye, or countries can say, okay, we'll lower our tariffs on you guys, and guess what? That allows for more trade, more free trade, and it stimulates our economy, higher GDP, more money, velocity of money. I mean, it does everything. So I think in 2 months from now, the markets will have clarity on all that. I think the whole tariffs thing will be kind of behind us, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Like right now, all the tariffs negotiation, the shock and all is happening now. 2 months from now, call it May, June-ish, I think all that will be resolved, dealt with. Ukraine, Russia will be settled. Hamas will be over. the world will have peace. We're already seeing egg prices drop, oil's dropping. I mean, I think we'll just be in a different place, and I think that will allow the market to get back to euphoria.
Okay. So in between now, and by the way, I have no response to you because we're in like absolute lockstep in what I've been
Where's
saying.
your recession?
Yeah, well, no, we'll come back to that. What I think is that what I've said is for more than a week, maybe since I've seen you, is that we will now be kind of in a up and down thing for that 2 month period. So we won't test a bear market. We also won't recover. It'll be up, it'll be down. People will be making all kinds of having all kinds of expectations that we're off to the races or that we're gonna, go down to the bear level. But I don't think either one of those will happen. And I agree with you when the clarity comes, and I agree with you on all the things that you said about what's going to make it clear. Um, what I think, though, is that now, remember my recession. My recession is we will have a negative growth story part of the next 6 months or so. It may not be every month. It may not be all 6 months. It may not ever qualify as a recession, but that there's no way you take $1 trillion out of the economy without it impacting the GDP. And so it might only last like 3 months. To Larry's thoughts a week ago, Larry was like, well, I think the stimulus of all of this change will pick us up before it goes into full recession. And I could
Mhm.
absolutely see that happen, especially if the interest rates come down. And that's what I'd love to talk about next. Tomorrow's CPI. Are we going to get a good number?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I
Well,
think,
I'll stimulate it. The headline number should be great. Because why? Because oil and gas and oil and gas are down. So that's the headline numbers. We should be able to get a beat, but I don't know about the core.
yeah, I think, I think it should be decent to optimistic. Optimistic. Um, yeah, oil's clearly down. Um, I don't even know where we're at. We're close to low 60s, I
65,
think.
65,
60.
65 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, so 65, and then we see in general. I, I mean, you saw the egg thing today. I wasn't expecting to see that. I don't think anyone was. Um, and then I know we disagree on this, but I think home prices are coming down, and I think that'll also have an effect on it.
Mhm.
Um, I I don't see new inflation. How about that? Like I'm not seeing it. Like things are still expensive. Things are still ridiculous. You go to Chipotle for two people, it's still $35. And it's like, what? This is insane. This is
Right.
borderline fast food.
Yes.
It shouldn't be $35. But I mean,
But
they got the
fast
demand.
food is 18. So it's like,
Yeah. So exactly. I mean, there's something to be said that it's not going to go down.
yeah, yeah.
A lot of these things like egg prices can come down. Buying chicken, buying, the your staples, your basic around the grocery shop store, right? Like the exterior side of all those things can come down in price, which would be good. But I don't think you're going to see like restaurants and services and a lot of that. I think that's going to be we just got to get used to the new normal. But airlines, Delta just had their big announcement that they're seeing lower demand. That I mean, it seems like everything's coming to a slowdown. Not that we're going to say what everyone says, in the mainstream media, but it does seem like that Trump is trying to force Jerome Powell's hand to cut rates. And I don't think he's doing it in a bad way. And I don't know. It just seems like everything that everyone's freaking out about, they're saying everything's inflationary, all these things. I don't really see it playing into any of the numbers tomorrow. Like if anything, I see the opposite. So I think tomorrow could be a good number. I don't think it'll move Jerome Powell unless it's drastic. Like what's the current expectation for tomorrow?
It's pretty flat, pretty flat. I'd have to look it up. I don't have it handy. Well, I have it fairly handy. Let's see how fast I can find it. Uh, oh, sure. I say that, and then it's not. I must have closed it.
That's
Oh,
right. I'm asking Grok right now.
you're asking Grok. Well, I'll have it sooner. Here we
Yeah,
go. So tomorrow, consumer price, yeah.
2.9.
Actually, they're looking for the headline to drop from 0.5 last month
2.9.
to 0.3. Yeah.
Yeah, so it says here headline CPI year over year expected to be around 2.9%,
Yeah.
down from 3% in January 2025.
Right.
Month over month CPI forecast to rise by 0.3,
Right.
a slowdown from January's 0.5% increase. CPI or core CPI 3.1, a modest decline from January's 3.3. Yeah, so we hit all of that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's pretty good. So anything better than that, like imagine we printed a 2.8 and
Yeah. Right.
a
Right.
2 handle on core, markets would rip.
Oh yeah, markets would rip. So I made the very, very bold statement a couple of days ago on X. You might have seen it. That I believe that if we hit those numbers that we just described, which would be good numbers, or as you point out, if it was even better, that I think that the Fed cuts next week.
Really?
Well, because their own numbers, the Atlanta Fed is showing recession. The president,
Yeah, but that's Atlanta Fed.
the secretary treasurer, both came out and said, we could have some rocky months here. I will say that the small business numbers were good today. And the, what do you call it? I always forget the name of it. Uh, the,
Jolts.
yes, the jolts was not bad. It wasn't, the jolts this month was okay, but you know what wasn't good? The revisions from last month were big, and they were all in the wrong, 3 out of 4 were in the wrong direction. So in the right direction though for a cut. So in other words, they were showing more softness in the job sector. So I could easily see Jerome Powell saying, or the group saying, there's a plenty of softness here, and consumer prices going in the right direction. It'd be nice, of course, to have the PPI echo that on Thursday, but maybe doing a little preempt here.
Yeah. I mean that'd be interesting if that happens. I think we're gonna have you don't know what's gonna happen, but if I was to bet on it, I would say I don't know if the odds favor what I'm going to say, but I would be willing to bet if you gave me the odds that we will get more than 2 rate cuts or 1 rate cut, whatever the wrap, but that we will see 2 to 3 rate cuts before September.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just because of all the debt that has to get refinanced.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's a big number. I want to say 9 trillion that's going to be refinanced
Yeah.
before
Yeah, I think it's
summer,
like 8 point something, but yeah, 9. Yeah.
which might be holding up the bond market or holding down, however you want to look at it. Holding up the rates on the bond market might
Yeah.
be the fear of whether or not this is going to be able to be monetized.
Yeah, and so I honestly, what I find even more interesting, what's even more interesting, there's so much going on, right? So we haven't even started talking about Tesla yet. There's so much going on. The most interesting thing to me right now is what's not happening.
Okay.
2018. Let me take you back. Trump wanted JP to start cutting rates. He hammered him every day, social media. He put so much pressure on Jerome Powell. Interestingly, this time around, not one word, just quiet. To me, I feel like there's an understanding or a game plan behind closed doors.
I think he respects Besson. Everybody respects Besson. And Besson has come out and been such an adult in the room. Oh my gosh, his talks are so solid. Holy mackerel. So I think Jerome Powell respects him, and I think maybe they would be the ones that have the kind of the nod, the head nod on all of this. And I think,
Could be,
and
but
the
either
reality,
ways,
and the reality, I think you've said this. I think we agreed on this. The reality is that the Fed isn't in control right now. It's the treasuries.
they've never been in control.
Okay, all right. I'm just saying, sometimes the market still commonly believes they are, but it's really the treasuries that are
Yeah,
totally running it right now. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, and they would tell you that we are due for a rate cut.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yes.
but anyways, so yeah, I think to go back to answer your question, I don't know if the market has bottom itself, and I think it will have bottom only after big growth stocks have bottom,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
before.
So if Putin agrees to the ceasefire, we get a big rally?
I don't know. I guess it depends what you mean by big. Does Tesla go to 300? I would say no.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So just depends what you mean by that.
Yeah, okay. I just mean, well, okay, a solid rally. How's that? A positive a positive bump.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not? Like, I was surprised we didn't hear anything from Trump today about egg prices. You know, it's to be honest, I don't even know where that really came from. I just saw Jeff post it, so I don't even know what the source is. Maybe I'm being trolled and I'm just
No,
a
it's it
sucker.
was it was not just Jeff. I think he picked it up from somebody. So but I put in my X post, I said, I'm going to take it, but Biden didn't cause it. I mean, he kind of did by killing all the birds, but it wasn't really an economic force to begin with, and Trump didn't do anything to solve it. So it's like I'll take the win, but it's really like it's not the left has been making a big deal about it, and it really is not significant.
Yeah, let's see. Um. Oh yeah, they have come down. Look at this.
Yeah.
So according to Grok, at inauguration, the national average for wholesale price for a dozen eggs reached a record high of $4.95. As of March 11th, 2025, that same wholesale dozen eggs is $3.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like I
interesting,
said,
huh?
I'll take the win. I'll put it, we can put it in Trump's column, but I don't think he had anything to do with it. We'll hope.
Well, Grok disagrees with you.
Oh, really? Grok thinks that Trump has nothing to do with it.
In late February 2025, the administration announced a $1 billion plan to address the crisis, including
It's true.
500 million dollars to biosecurity, 400 million dollars for farmer relief, and 100 million dollars for vaccine research. While this could improve supply long term, its immediate impact by March 11th is questionable, as flock repopulation takes 6 to 9 months.
However,
So,
however,
you
there's always the impact of the statement and the fact
yes,
you're taking action. We've seen that over and over again. I'll never forget both Obama and then Trump went through this where they didn't understand the power of their bully pulpit. And it was both
mm,
on oil. The oil price of oil is going crazy. Obama says, I can't do anything about that. And then like 3 weeks later, he goes, oh, I can. And then Trump comes into office and his oil prices are going up and he did the same thing. Exactly. And when he said it, I was like, what? What do you mean you can't do anything about it? Of course you can.
yeah.
So here we go again. This is maybe a little bit of bully pulpit actually having an impact.
Well, not just that, but I would also say the fact that they included 500, or excuse me, 400 million for farmer relief.
Right,
Like if you're not, if you get a lot of relief,
right.
it allows you to provide other relief.
Yeah, exactly.
Meaning in prices, because you're not trying to fixing costs for the unknown or other things you have to deal with. So
All right. So Tesla
yes,
should have
main
gone
event.
up. Tesla should have gone up 50 today.
No, that wouldn't be good for me.
Okay, Tesla should have gone up 25 today.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Uh,
Actually, 50 would have been fine.
I have never seen anything. I've never seen a marketing coup bigger than today's marketing coup ever. Nothing. There's not. You can't even imagine it. I've always said that Elon Musk was the king of PR, that he's the best PR guy ever. Barnum and Bailey have nothing on Elon Musk. To get a picture of your vehicles in the front of the White House
Yeah.
with Elon Musk giving him a tour of the vehicles and getting the president of the United States to say, "This is really cool. I didn't realize this was a computerized deal." I mean, how can you make a comparison?
I didn't even hear all of it. I,
Oh,
I,
you
I
didn't.
I haven't heard. I'll have to look up the whole thing. I saw like 2 clips of it.
So the president's going, "Oh, look, it's all computer. I didn't realize that this was all computer. Oh, I didn't realize this, and I didn't realize." And then he's like, "I don't think I would want the car without a steering wheel and pedals. I mean, you can't. There's no way you could not. You could buy an hour at the Super Bowl and not have as much value as what you just had on that thing."
Did did was there any clips of him like showing him how the AC works?
No, I didn't see anything about
I
that.
think that's like one of the coolest things about the car. It's like such a little thing, but it's like one of the little things that you've upgraded. Like there's no vents.
Yeah,
Instead, you go here and you just tell the air where you want it. You can see exactly how it's going to hit you,
yeah,
rather than you sitting there playing with these things. Like
yeah. It's
it's like, oh, it's pretty cool.
well, they should have done the fart. That would have been great. They should have done
So, yeah, something. Yeah, we need Trump to still look like he's strong man.
yes.
Putin hasn't signed on the dotted line yet.
You want to go to the fun stuff, huh? Okay. Or maybe a light show.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that was only part of the PR though. We also had Sean
Ooh.
Hannity and another one of the Fox guys. I'm forgetting his name.
The
And
guy who replaces Greg Gutfield whenever he's not around on the five.
yeah,
That guy.
I could find his name, but I'm not going to. Anyway, so we had two Fox guys both saying they were going to buy Teslas, then we ought to buy Teslas in order to support the president. Again, that might have been the equivalent of a half minute on the Super Bowl. And it's going to the largest untapped uh, TAM that Tesla still has.
I know. Yeah, that's what's crazy. Yeah, it's and you know what? It's you might lose some Democrat buyers, but I don't know if you really will. Okay, so, sure, you'll lose a Cheryl Crow.
Yeah, right. Yes.
All right, somebody who probably doesn't really drive that much anyways. But if you're somebody that drives all the time,
Hmm.
even if, I don't care what your politics are, it'd be really hard to give up a Tesla. You're
Yeah.
telling me you have to go to some other car. If it's a gas car, then one, did I ever care about climate change and any of that?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I could go to another EV. Um, that way I can still at least charge at my house and get that benefit, right? At least. But then does it play nice with the Tesla superchargers? Oh, sure it will, but not yet. And then also you have to deal with that user interface, and that's crappy, and no FSD or autopilot. Like, are you really willing to go all the way back in time to are you really to give up your iPhone to go back to a flip phone
So,
for a
so
political
I've
ideology?
yeah, so I've told the story before. I couldn't handle the ego aspects of driving a Jag, and so I sold my Jag and bought like a 5, 10-year-old used Cadillac. And it was it was like, oh my gosh, what a step down, you know, brand new Jag to a 10-year-old Cadillac. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, it would take, somebody would be wrecking every time they got in their car, they'd be going, what did I do?
Oh, yes. Well, just even like if you're in traffic, like even if the only two things that you love Teslas for is because you can charge at home and you can charge easily when you go anywhere, and when you're in traffic, you can just put on autopilot.
Right.
Like to give up those two things alone for any other vehicle that can't do such basic things, I don't know. I really don't know if people are gonna choose not to buy a Tesla over that.
Yeah, so I think not. And if it's 5%, it's 5%. That's what Dan Ives found out. But the Tesla, the right wing,
Yeah,
the right wing has not been buying Tesla. The independents haven't been buying Teslas. They are all I'm not going to be forced to move into a, yeah. And if I have friends, I have family members have no interest in a Tesla only because they feel like they're being forced to get
yeah.
out of their, you know, their putt car, their motor, their shifting and all this kind of stuff. And I think this will go a long way to getting folks to start thinking about that.
Or at least just get them in the car. Because
Yeah,
once you're in the car and you just get to take a test drive and experience it, you're kind of like, okay, hold on. What is this thing?
I
I didn't
know.
realize it could do all this.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then like the cherry on top is okay. Now I know this can be a little scary, but just press down the stock real quick.
Right.
See what happens.
Yeah.
It's
Home improves.
yeah.
So then, to make matters more interesting today, the president then turns around and says, "Okay, we are going to consider acts of vandalism against Tesla facilities and people that drive Teslas, etc. We're going to consider this to be domestic terrorism, changing it in most cases from a misdemeanor or a minor felony into a significant federal offense."
That's excellent.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was a very wise thing to do.
It
I
is.
think,
I don't care who you are, what your political ideologies are, whatever. I don't care. You should not attack US companies. That is not that's not negotiable because you know what? People who work at those companies are left, right, middle, green, everything. They all have families, everything. It can't be that you have a certain point of view and because things aren't going your way that you choose violence against our companies. Like our companies, US companies. Like it doesn't matter. Like these companies employ everybody.
hey, violence at all, violence at all. It's just wrong. It's a criminal act. And the people that would do that kind of violence, to the extent that they would do it there, as the old song went, to the extent they do it there, they would do it anywhere. And
no,
and you don't think so. You don't think
no.
a person who's prone to violence, who's willing to
You're
go
not coming to Florida and doing that, tell you that.
You know what I mean. I mean, would be prone to violence. So that
Yeah.
they might be taking it out on their wife next time or their next.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So these are people you need to get off the street.
Yeah.
Yes,
No,
no,
I agree with that.
I understand your point.
No, yeah, hey, just I would, that's one of the things about the Second Amendment in states that really embrace it.
Yeah,
You don't just go up to a random vehicle. You don't go up to anybody's house
yeah.
because you don't know what you're going to be met with.
No, you don't. So the internet really got alive. So people that are not marketing people like me didn't get all excited. In fact, the stock barely went up as a result of the advertisement for the White House. But the internet or the X community lit up plenty when Elon said he's going to double production over the next 2 years. And everybody had out their calculator and they're trying to figure out what that was. So I have to give credit to Merritt as usually. So your Merritt, who went and actually checked how many cars we manufactured in the U.S. last year, and it was around 700,000. So a doubling would only be another 700,000. So as much as that's good, and I would certainly like to see the U.S. production up 700,000 in 2 years, that would be a low number in my book. I was thinking we'd have a million cybercabs alone in the next 2 years,
Uh,
or close.
Yeah, I don't know. Uh, that'd be a lot of cybercabs. I mean, a million? That's a lot to. Tesla barely makes a million worldwide.
Oh, that's true. Well,
So a million just
million.
in the U.S. cybercabs in 1 year when they first
Well,
like they need to go through a ramp.
unboxed. All right, you don't think it'd be that many. All right,
Unbox the new technology that we don't even
I
know
tried.
what happens when it scales, what breaks as it
All right,
scales.
okay. I was a little too optimistic. All right, so we'll get a bunch of the new model. We'll get a bunch of Ys because of the new upgrade. I've been saying that I think. What do you think? I've been saying that I think the upgrade is going to sell a lot more than people think because of the pent up demand and people upgrading.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, look, I still think we have issues with people being cash strapped, and people are going to hold on to their current vehicles longer. Um, the current climate of uncertainty doesn't help. Companies are, I think, laying off more. Um, rates are still high. It's still tough out there.
Mhm. Well, in that period where it's going to be the toughest, the next 3 months, I don't think they'll have trouble selling every one they make because they just the upgrades alone, people and the people that have really been Osborne over the last year, I think that'll eat up a lot, at least in the United States. Well, no, everywhere. Even maybe in Europe, they may sell out because of Osborne and people upgrading their
Hmm.
previous Y.
Yeah, yeah. I'm optimistic. But let's go back to your initial question. Do you think
Oh,
Tesla stock is bottom?
okay. So Tesla stock.
And well, start with the macro. Do you think the macro is bottom? That was your
Uh,
question to me. You got to
okay.
answer it.
So I think the macro is bottomed for now. And I think well,
What does that mean?
I said I thought it would go up and down and up and down. I agreed with you 100%. I said I think it will go up and down and up and down around this number for the next couple of months until we get clarity. But what happens if the clarity is in the wrong direction? I don't think it will be. I think there's a less than a very small chance that the clarity will be that, oh, we didn't take this into consideration. Whoops. But there could be enough bad news that we're not, you know, that we're not planning for that we could see an actual, let's say, a first quarter with a actual negative GDP. Now that would be in April. That's when we would see that would be in April. So that maybe could cause the stock market to go down again.
Okay. And Tesla? What are your thoughts there?
Tesla, that's a harder, it isn't actually harder. I don't think there's a chance at all that it can get under 185 or whatever that number would be. Okay, I think that's the old
Don't even
101.
put that out there.
I've been putting it out there for 2 weeks. So the 185 number is the old 101. Okay. It's like okay, it could happen, but it probably won't. Now, with the advertising that we got today, that might have any kind of downward direction might be out of the, off the books, right, or off the table. But prior to that, I would have said, yes, there could have been another leg because it just moves in such big number, moves so much at one time. So yes,
Okay.
I said a long time ago, I thought 125 was the bottom. I'm sorry, 225. And but that it could, potentially go all the way down to 187. But I don't know about going up. I have said multiple times 480 back to all-time highs by the end of May.
Back to all-time highs by the end of May.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
Nick would like that, Randy. Nick would like that a lot.
A lot of people would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just because of Cybercab,
You'll have
Robotaxi?
you'll have the Juniper numbers will be in. The first quarter will be over. We no longer have that pressure. I think we'll be back to risk on, to your point. I think we'll be back to a risk on market. And you'll have the new, whatever it is, whatever this car is going to be, the Q car. All those things will be in play. I'm thinking you'll start to see bigger numbers on Cybertruck.
Mm,
You'll find out whether the European problem is long term or whether that's going to blow over. And as to your point, Ukraine and Israel might be quite done by then. So yeah, I think, and the big thing, of course, will be robotaxi. Oh, I think there will be a video between now and the end of May on Optimus that will give us certainty that we are ahead.
interesting. So here's my take. If we can hold these levels going into the end of the week, ideally better. Um, I think that will mean we have bottomed. Really, we need weekly confirmation to know that. But if we break below 213, I think we go to 138.
138.
Yeah.
Wow. Without the market continuing down?
Yeah.
All by itself down to 138. Wow.
Everything will go down.
Huh?
If Tesla breaks 213, I think everything's going down.
Okay, so it would be part of a market move, whether Tesla leads or whether Tesla follows, but it needs the market in order to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Tesla hasn't it's not like this is a Tesla only thing.
Yeah, I
I
know.
would say Tesla has had more of an outsized
Right.
effect. But even then, like if you look at I don't know, let's pick a company. Let's look at Palantir. Palantir was at 125 and now it's at 78.
Right. Yeah.
That's almost mirroring Tesla, right?
Nvidia is not great.
Oh yeah, let's look at Nvidia. Nvidia was 153, now it's 108. Oh, better
But
than Tesla or
huge.
Palantir, but still, if you look at a company like 𝐓𝐿, they were at 525, now they're at 257. If you let's look at one more. I haven't looked at them in a while. Strategy is their new name. Um,
Oh, they went
they're
down
there.
big yesterday.
543 was where they were, and now they're at 258.
Yeah.
So now I don't exactly want to be tied to
Right. Right.
a MicroStrategy or an 𝐓𝐿. I'm fine being in company with Palantir and Nvidia, but the point still the point is that these are high. I don't want to say risk, but these are more
Story stocks.
higher beta stocks. Yeah, right,
They're story
exactly.
stocks.
So yeah, I think this is kind of par for the course. Like Tesla gets the brunt of it because of Elon and all the violence that's happening. But yeah, I think look, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It has to be fine because good has to prevail. So
That's right. That's right. All right. So the doubling, you're okay with the doubling. You figure that is a realistic possibility.
well, it
US
doesn't mean
US sales.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Like that's U.S. sales, and honestly, I think the majority of the first cybercabs, Randy, I, I bet you maybe the first 200, 300,000 remain in Tesla's possession.
Okay. Fleet.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but like I'm thinking like if there's, I don't know, like how many would there be in a city? Like 3 to 5,000 in a city?
Yeah, sometimes more.
Yeah, so just say 5,000 for easy numbers. If you think of like San Fran, LA, uh, Austin, we'll skip Seattle, Austin, Houston, Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know. You keep going. Like you could easily get to 200, 300,000, and then that's Tesla operated is what I would see in my head. I know that he's talked about Airbnb type model
Mhm.
where they sell them,
Right.
but I don't know. I would imagine that they would want to keep a certain amount for themselves.
Oh, I'm sure of that. And Ron Barron said today his numbers are about the same as mine. He said he sees 50,000 per unit profit for Tesla, the ones that they keep.
Oh, for the Cybercab?
Sorry.
He talked about that today. Man, I
Yeah.
got a lot to watch, Randy.
You do. Yeah, I got to catch up.
I just saw a couple clips. I I the only reason I even stopped listening because I listened to the clip real quick. I was like, make sure Ron Barron's holding steady. Okay, Ron's holding steady. Shouldn't have doubted him. My fault. My fault, Mr. Barron. Let's move on.
Yes, he did. He did get some people to clip again. There's so much. I think of you often, Nicholas, when I see this going on. So many people that are clipping out, you know, inappropriate statements, things that, like today on the Ron Barron thing, they clipped out the part where he said, "I sold off 1/3 of my portfolio." They didn't keep in the part where he says, "I'm not selling a dime worth of my own stock." And he also explained why he took 1/3 off on his own portfolio is
Because of the
because
size.
it was too big for his portfolio. And that's what Kathy Wood does all the time. So, it's the same thing that happened earlier today with Elon's statement about Social Security.
Mm.
And he clearly said that he was talking about getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security, not cutting benefits. And
Yeah,
they literally clipped the video
yeah.
and cut off the part about waste and fraud in an obvious way. In fact, you put that up, and we both put that up on our X feeds.
Mm.
Yeah, because it
Yeah,
was
I
so blatant.
yeah, well, the worst part is what I posted, it wasn't even clipped out. And it was the whatever senator from Michigan who did the rebuttal to Trump's speech. She's the one that posted it without anything clipped out. So I'll give her credit that
Still
she
made
didn't
the
clip it
claim.
out. But it's like, how stupid do you think we are?
No, because they
Like,
don't think anybody's going to actually watch the video. They think they
maybe,
can
but
make
it's
the
like, that's what I'm
headline
saying.
and the comment and put the video, and people are like, "Oh, well, it's on the video. I
Yeah.
don't have to watch it."
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, and again, those aren't even Trump or Elon's numbers. That's the Biden's administration's numbers on what they perceive the amount of fraud or waste or abuse would be within Social Security. So, and that's what he wants to get rid of. And it's just crazy to me. It's like, how's that even political? Because even if there's $100 of waste, well, that's $100 that could go to someone else.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like how many more people could get Social Security? Or, I mean, maybe not like today,
Right.
right? Because ideally, everyone who gets Social Security gets paid. But in the future, how
Yeah.
many more people in the future will be able to get Social Security because of that?
I haven't done the numbers, but it might be that if you got rid of enough waste, fraud, and abuse in Social Security, it might not run out in 2033.
Well, it probably wouldn't.
You might be able to say, "Okay, we got it covered now to 2045." Of course, I think you and I both agree it should be changed into some kind of a market-based uh, account as opposed to only using treasuries. But that's a story for another day.
Yeah, I was gonna say I actually think they should make Social Security somewhat optional.
Somewhat.
Yeah, somewhat, because I think you have to prove competence to make it. Like I know everyone like talks about Social Security like it's out there as an entitlement program, whatever, all this it's there to help people. No, not really true. That's not why was started.
Right.
It was started because after the Great Recession or the Great Recession, um, or Depression, excuse me, the Great Depression, there was this issue where a lot of people were getting to retirement age and they had nothing.
Right.
And there's a big issue here. Social Security was born.
Yeah.
And so my point of view is if Randy proves competency, whether it's through a 401k, IRA, a brokerage, something that shows that he is saving, whatever, it could be part of your tax you have to file. You have to prove every year that you are saving and investing and stashing away. And if you can prove that, then you shouldn't have to pay Social Security. If you can't prove that, then you have to pay Social Security because you, by being not good with your money or not having the saving muscle,
Mhm, mhm.
you should not be a detriment to society.
So then they would need to also put a clause in that where that account that you're keeping, whatever that is, whatever is acceptable as an alternative to Social Security, also is not subject to bankruptcy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think you should be able to, I think to your point, like that money should be invested in US companies,
Yeah.
only in US companies, and you should be able to track it.
Right. But like, in my particular case, I never thought I would need Social Security. I thought, who cares? What would I ever do with Social Security? I've got a 100 employee company. I'll be able to sell that someday for millions. And I will never need this. And I've got a pension plan. I got a 401k, all this stuff. And then because of medical issues and whatnot, at age 60, company was gone, bankrupt, and had to start over at age 60. So guess what? I like my Social Security check.
No, yeah. And that's fine. But my point is, as a US citizen, there should not be any, you shouldn't automatically be taxed on something without you being able to opt in for that tax. It's why I don't like
But
income tax per se.
you are saying you'd be forced to have an alternative, an acceptable.
Yes. Yes, an acceptable yeah, because you can't infringe on me as an individual because you are choosing not to be responsible as an adult.
Uh-huh.
It's like me saying you have to have a driver's license to drive, but you can drive, but you have to prove competency. You can't just do something that's going to infringe on other people and make it dangerous. You cannot, Randy, infringe on me by not being responsible and saving, and then all of a sudden you're not additive to society, and also
Right.
you're taking up resources, and like it's
Yeah, so I haven't heard that version of a fund approach, but I like your version. That would be very cool.
Social Security was optional to begin with. That's how it
Yeah.
started. All I'm saying is go back to what it was.
Yeah.
The spirit of it was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's become it's a lot of things. Like even if you talk about DEI, the spirit of it is good on paper.
Yeah.
Then it morphed into something bad. The whole woke movement, the spirit of it was good, and then it morphed into this. Like it's always the same things. Like people take these things and then they ruin them.
Ruin them.
Yeah, like nobody's against diversity and wow, I don't even inclusion. What like nobody's in equity. Yeah, like nobody. Maybe the equity part. But nobody's against these ideas, right? Nobody's sitting there saying that we like. I mean, hell, we don't even want race-based things. We just want meritocracy,
Right.
and meritocracy, I think, knows no color, knows no creed, knows no race.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's a better way to do things.
Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. Well, okay. So we talked about the numbers pretty much already, but let's at least take a look at where they are now as we go into tomorrow. We will start with, of course, Tesla, which 843 for the day, and then in the after hours, still up almost $4, $3.91.
$4, $4.02.
Oh, really? Yours must be ahead of mine or something.
439, 402 again. 403. Ooh.
Ooh. Anyway,
Sorry.
not enough. There's a lot of run room left in this. So people start realizing how important those ads were today. They are so valuable. So we'll see if that changes tomorrow. Since you've got it handy, what about some of the other Mag 7s? Are they also
Sure.
up in after hours?
Pretty much everything is up in after hours except for looks like crypto. So let's look. Nvidia is up 69 cents, nothing crazy. Let's see. Google's up 40 cents, so nothing really. Netflix $1.90, nothing crazy. Actually, believe it or not, Tesla looks like it's the highest, and then followed by Palantir.
Yeah, so the ones that were, doubling and tripling and even more than tripling on the way down are more than tripling on the way back up again. It's kind of
So
that what seems to be happening.
yeah, I definitely think. I think. I hope. I don't know, but I hope Tesla has bottom, and I think we'll find some equilibrium between like 272 and 313 until we start seeing some better news. But once we get to at least 272, that's when I think I'll be able to be like, okay, the bottom is
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
At
No,
least until we get, Q1
right.
deliveries and earnings and all that,
That's
then
the other
we'll go
thing.
through that roller coaster.
Yeah, how that impacts. The bonds, unfortunately, the yields went back up today, but they're down again in the pre-market. So, but sitting above 4.25, that makes me sad. Uh, you're in my oil play, $66.65. So we're still above the 60 level, but we'll get there. I think we'll get there.
Wait. What does that mean? I'm in your oil play.
You and I have been talking about oil getting back to 60.
Yeah. I don't see it going much below 60, maybe to 55, but I think that's roast. I know not Randy. What's his name?
Larry?
Larry. Larry, I think thinks it's going to go way lower.
Yeah, I don't know. We talked about it Monday. It seems to me like he's pretty much in sync with you and me, thinking 60
Is
is.
he? Okay.
Yeah, because I think that's a well known among people that are paying attention a lot, that's kind of a well-known sweet spot that the oil companies and the what do you want to call it, consumer can live with it. Um, Nat gas coming back down again, going into spring. Maybe we'll see nat gas kind of. The other side of nat gas though is that Trump is selling nat gas like crazy. If he's selling Teslas, he's really selling natural gas.
Mm.
So it may be that he's going to be a good enough salesman to sell enough of it that will keep the price up.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right now, and it's pretty much what I've been saying. So like the break even is essentially just call it 60.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
Yep. So
Existing wells obviously would be a lot lower, but
sure,
yeah.
sure. Yeah. Gold is back above 2,900. It slipped down a little bit a couple days ago, but now back up above 29. And silver is trying very hard. It's been trying so hard to get back to 34, but it's still at 33 and 35 cents. So we'll see if it can bust through. And copper been staying nicely up there. It's the one commodity that is very strong because I guess of all these data centers that need to be built.
Mm.
Bitcoin recovered, so sitting almost at 8,300, 83,000, sorry, up 4,000 for the day.
Yeah, Bitcoin's interesting. Oh, Sean Hannity just officially ordered his Tesla.
Another 30-minute Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah,
30
he
seconds.
just posted. As promised yesterday, I just ordered my new self-driving Tesla. Over 1,000 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2 seconds.
Oh, he got an answer.
Details on how to win the Tesla of your choice soon
Oh,
on
oh,
Hannity.com.
so he's going to keep it going.
Looks like it.
Nice. Got himself an S. Uh-huh. Pre-market for tomorrow, the equities. Everything's up a little bit. Um, Dow's up 55 or 0.15%. S&P is up 11.5 or 0.21%. And the NASDAQ up 51 or 0.27%. So with any luck at all, that holds overnight. And we get into some positive territory in the equities. And maybe we'll be off to the race. Again, I don't think it'll be off to the races, but it'd be lovely to just kind of, add back 100 points a day and, you know,
Yeah.
depend on
Well,
that CPI tomorrow.
100 points a day. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this week could turn out to become really bullish really quick.
Yeah.
Um, to your point, CPI could be good.
Yep.
That could follow PPI, which is on Thursday. We could get Putin to sign the ceasefire.
Right.
And then on top of all of that, there's something else I was going to say that is all. Oh, and the House just passed the spending bill. We'll see if the
Senate.
Senate does.
Yeah.
So all that,
Yeah.
it's the 6 month extension on the budget, the ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia, a better CPI number and PPI number. I mean, like, don't sleep on it. It could happen.
It could happen. Yeah, it's true. It's true. That could have, as you point out, that could be a pretty powerful elixir to the market that's been suffering a little pain.
Oh, absolutely. Because then guess what? Then all these fears and everything.
Yeah.
What happens, in my opinion, is that it becomes one of those things where, like, oh, Trump said he would get the tariffs back from Hamas. Well, it sounds like there's still a few, or the hostages. Excuse me. Sounds like there's still a few hostages there, but
He
still,
pretty
he
much
did
did
what he
it.
said he was going to do.
Yeah, right.
The boarding crossings have come all the way down. Now we're seeing egg prices come down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Russia Ukraine ceasefire. By the way, it hasn't even been 2 full months yet.
Right.
Like, so back off on the tariffs, which, by the way, it looks like Canada's starting to bend the knee.
Yeah.
Like just look at what's happening. So it's like, guys, ease up with the criticism. Just trust the process. Trust what I'm doing, and maybe instead of being a wind, against us, be a wind at our backs,
Right.
and imagine how much faster we could get things done.
Yeah. Or just at least get out of the way. What was the old
Yeah.
thing? Lead, follow, or get out of the way.
Yeah.
One of those three in there. So, and the Democrats are certainly not leading. I think I can say that with clarity.
Yeah. Now, just as all that could be the positive,
Yeah.
it could also go the other way.
Good.
Putin could decide not to sign.
Yeah.
The Senate could fail because of some random Republicans deciding not to be on board. And then CPI could really come in hotter than expected.
Right.
So
All those things are possible.
with every gimme, there's a gotcha. So
All right, Nicholas, as always, a pleasure to have you on and discuss all of these interesting things that are happening. And your tree does not seem to be growing.
oh, well, you don't want it to grow. It's indoors. You want it to stay stagnant.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It literally has a ceiling.
Oh my goodness. With that, I better get out of here because we're never going to top it. It's been great talking to you guys.
Cheers.